want to start by welcoming our presenting sponsor, as well as a board member on our brand new West Hartford Chamber Foundation. Mary Kay Curtis is going to come and start us off, if you don't mind. Sure.
You just have to hold this.
Yeah, the microphone's right there on the card.
Don't yell into it. Is that what I'm hearing? Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm here to introduce Dan as the speaker for tonight. He is the Director of Sales and Advertising at Hearst CT Media Group, or CT Insider. He has more than 17 years of experience in sales, business development, and marketing, including more than a decade of helping businesses grow through SEO, paid search, social media, video, content, and AI-driven marketing. He has held leadership roles across media agency, and MarTech organizations, including Hearst Connecticut Media Group, Search Atlas, and Agile. Please welcome Dan.
Thank you. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for that introduction. So what we're going to do today is talk about how to get found in Google's AI overviews and beyond, okay? What I'm hoping everyone gets out of this is some tips, some tricks. It is very complex. There is an ever-changing landscape in AI search. There's constant changes when you go to the platforms, whether it's Google, whether it's Bing, whether it's ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, you name it. There's a lot of things that are changing, but there's still some core fundamentals of how to get recognized by the AI bots to be recommended in the AI overviews. So I'm hoping everyone will at least have a trick or a tip to bring back to their businesses. And if you do need an extra hand, I do provide services to help you. I have an entire team with a lot of experience managing small, large, national, franchise, you name it. We have handled their marketing, and we're doing a lot of work in the AI space. But before I get into that, just want to give a very brief overview of who Hearst Connecticut is, where you probably find us in the market, why I'm a credible source to talk about this topic, and to maybe give you a little bit more information about what's actually here in the state that you probably had no idea about. So I work for Hearst Connecticut Media Group. You probably know us a lot better as CT Insider, West Hartford News, Connecticut Magazine. We run all the best of Connecticut competitions. Best restaurants, best of Connecticut. We now have a best of Hartford. We run best of Fairfield, Reader's Choice in Central Connecticut, top doctors, best restaurants, best dentists. But right now in Connecticut, we do have the #1 reach for news and information in the entire state. We are handling about 844,000 monthly unique visitors just from the state of Connecticut to our dozens of online properties. CT Insider is the leader, so is CT Post, New Haven Register, Greenwich Time, and a lot of others. But when you add in Hearst Corporation, we actually are driving 2.25 million people, unique visitors a month in Connecticut to a Hearst property. So we are owned by Hearst Corporation. We're located in mid-Manhattan, which is the world headquarters. You probably don't know the Hearst name, but you know our 360 plus businesses because you interact with them every single day, whether you realize it or not. We own the History Channel. We own A&E Media Group. We own Lifetime Movie Network, where a lot of the movies are filmed in Connecticut. We're part owners of ESPN with Disney and the NFL. We own Cosmo, Good Housekeeping, Motor Trend, Car and Driver. We're the world's largest lifestyle magazine publishers in the entire world. We have Food Network magazine, HGTV magazine, Women's Health, Men's Health, Elle. The brands go on and on. We also own 35 TV stations across the US, which hits about 20% of the US population. We're in 35 markets. Closest is WCVB ABC in Boston, which is our leader. We also own Fitch Ratings, which rivals S&P Global. We have healthcare, we have helicopter technology, we have our own winery. We have hundreds of businesses across 200 plus websites. We also own, right now, it's dwindling a little bit down from the 1800s of how many newspapers we used to own, but we still own 30 daily newspapers and 50 weeklies. That's 80 plus. On the newspaper side, no one knows this, but of those 80 newspapers, 34 of them are in Connecticut. Mid-Manhattan is a rock throw away. Connecticut is a major hub because a lot of Hearst Corporation leaders are living right in Fairfield County. So naturally, it's the extension of Manhattan. So basically, we're driving 138 million people, unique visitors a month, to Hearst's 200 plus websites. That gives us first-party data and 3.8 billion first-party data signals. So all the traffic that goes to Hearst's 200 plus websites, we only trail Google, Meta, and Apple for how much people actually come to our properties on a daily basis. Why that's important is because that opens us, our company, for our digital marketing segment of Hearst Corporation. So I work within the Hearst CT Media Group. We have a lot of different entities across the United States that help local, regional, statewide, and national customers with their digital marketing, and we're doing a lot of AI work. Our teams collectively are currently managing over 30,000 keywords on page 1 of Google ranked in SEO, and about 10 million clicks on the paid sponsored side just in Google alone. Oops, wrong way. All this data was just run by our marketing team. So this is the freshest data we have, and it was delivered to us actually a couple days ago. The current stat right now is ChatGPT is sourcing a Hearst news publication 150 million plus times a year. So next time you do a search for best restaurants or elongated, best Italian restaurant that serves X, Y, and Z, you might run into CT Insider or CT Post being mentioned. We also own San Francisco Chronicle and Houston Chronicle and the Austin Statesman and Dallas Morning News and a lot of publications where our 50 plus websites across the United States that are just news, let alone our TV stations, are credible sources within ChatGPT. So the topic, how to get found in Google AI's overview. What's happening right now across the landscape, and I'm sure every single one of you can attest to this, is search behavior has kind of changed. I'm going to use different examples, random examples that we can probably all relate to. Landscapers near me, right? Super broad, basic term, okay? That's what it used to be. People would go on Google on their phones, landscapers near me, restaurants near me, best, personal injury lawyer, West Hartford, whatever it may be, right? You're throwing top and best or near me in every search, and it's very broad and it's localized, right? And that's where you get your traditional sponsored ads at the top, 3 companies in we call it the map pack, and then organic rankings, right? Sometimes local service ads, specialized profiles and specific services will show up, but you notice there's no AI overview. Now searches are getting very, very detailed and elongated, right? We just had tons of rain, flooded basements in West Hartford. Now people are searching, which West Hartford landscaping companies specialize in drainage problems, right? People didn't really search that in the past, and if they did, what did you have to do? You have to just constantly click on all these websites to figure out who the most credible and best is, and that no one's got time for that anymore, right? And that's the beauty of AI, where within a millisecond, AI bots have been scanning and indexing billions of pages. So they know when you ask a question, it's already going to source who they believe is the most trustworthy. And there's a lot of signals coming off of websites to do it. First and foremost, we have to understand how Google prioritizes local searches today. It is very technical, but I'm just going to try to make it as easy to understand as possible. Again, it can be complex. So right now, like off to the right, this is just like random examples with fake companies. You have your AI overview. Then you have your sponsored ads. Then you have your Google Maps. Then you have organic rankings. There's a lot of things that businesses have to do to optimize for all the sections of Google. Okay? Google needs to understand the content on your website. It does not want to guess. It can't guess. It will bypass your website if it has to guess what you do, who you help, are you trustworthy, right? There's a lot that goes into that. Google needs explicit detail, so in a millisecond, when it's scanning and indexing billions of pages at a time and storing that information for searches, it knows who to recommend. You have to feed it explicit, unique content in many different areas of your website in order for the AI bot to want to recommend you. Okay, so it can be very technical, but there's a lot of things that you kind of need to understand within it. Now, this is the most alarming stat in my industry, right? Since 1998, when Google was incorporated, they've been doing the Google platform, right? Very basic landing page. You don't get noise and advertisers from all over the place. It's just a search bar in you. You search local listings or national listings or whatever. Links show up everywhere, right? And you as the user have to figure out which one you want to click on. But what's ending up happening right now is 60 to 93%. Now that range is because not every search is a question and not every search ends in an AI overview. I'm sure this stat's going to change by next week. 60 to 93% of searches right now don't even get a click. That's pretty alarming, right? It's because AI overview is giving them the answer. They don't have to click into a content website. They don't have to click into a website that has services to see if it's a right fit for your service. AI is already recommending it, right? So then they can easily just go direct search you and then click in your, Google business profile or your phone, there's many ways in which they don't even have to click if it's a business service question, okay? 25% of AI summary search sessions close immediately without any further link clicks, right? So what's important is to make sure that your business is set up for AI visibility. What we've identified is the companies that aren't taking this seriously and their organic rankings have been just so good because of reputation and reviews and trustworthiness, and they've been around for a long time, and they've been doing SEO for so long that they're in the top half of Google. Those companies, if they're not focusing on AI search, those rankings are starting to slip. Years and years or years of optimizations and tens of thousands of dollars spent to secure that top spot. It's because Google's algorithm is changing and favoring more of its algorithm score towards the AI search components. Google has a massive algorithm. There's over 200 signals from a website in a millisecond that gives Google a ranking score. It's your technical, it's your on-page, it's your off-page, it's your reviews, it's your content. There's a lot that goes into it. It's your Google business profile, it's your directory and listings, it's your trustworthiness, it's backlinks on other reputable sites, it's what people are saying about you. There's so much that goes into it. So there is way too many acronyms in this space right now. I'm going to educate you a little bit of how it works. AI search is probably the hierarchical category of everything AI. Now, the industry hasn't coined a specific term yet, but AI search is usually like the umbrella, okay? And underneath AI search is obviously SEO. SEO is the foundation. SEO is the foundation. SEO is search engine optimization. That's when you go on Google or Bing and you search for something and Google is ranking 1 through 100 on page 1 through 10 organic linkings per page, right? Only the top 3 to 5 matter. No one scrolls past the bottom. Okay. AEO, answer engine optimization, is a huge feature of AI search. That's where it's helping your business become the direct answer to a customer's question. So when you ask a question into Google or ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or Gemini, it doesn't matter, it's now sourcing the right source and it's recommending your information. That's what AEO is. Google is recommending your information on your site. GEO, you might hear that term, generative engine optimization. Okay, that's basically helping the AI tools cite and recommend your brand, not your information, but your brand. Okay? And then there's LLM, which is large language model. You probably hear that term here and there, LLM. Okay? That's helping AI tools understand who you are, where your information is, where exactly that content is on your page, so it can be in the right place at the right time so Google doesn't have to guess. It all works together, okay? And honestly, it's all based off of the foundation principles and best practices of SEO. Because in SEO, there's 4 pillars. There's on-page SEO, all the information and content on your website. There's off-page SEO, which is your backlinks, your sightings, your citations, your links, directories, listings, right? That's your reputation, your reviews, that's off your website. Then there's technical SEO, right? How is your website structured? That is super important, right? And then there's content. Content has to be very unique, different than your competitors. There's hundreds of businesses competing for the top small percent of the real estate on Google. Everyone in here doesn't even scroll past halfway mark of Google because you've already identified 12 different businesses, services, or whatever you're searching for. Okay, so if you're not found at the top, you're never going to get clicked on. Okay, but it's important to show up in those AI overviews because it is sourcing, it is going up to the top, and it's leapfrogging paid ads, local maps, and organic rankings. However, it's still very, very, very important to still do very good SEO work because it is the most qualified leads, because people will scroll down to the organic rankings and they are more qualified because they're serious. They will click on you, they'll do a form fill, they'll call. So you have to do it all in combination. And this is why a lot of agencies and media companies like me have AEO and GEO embedded in the SEO service because it all needs to work together in order to, work. So how AI search chooses the answers? It's scanning web pages, profiles, reviews, trusted sources, billions of pages at once, and it's keeping an index. So when you do that search, within a millisecond, it is going to source. And there's usually only 3 companies similar to the map pack that it's recommending, okay? Who are the best Italian restaurants in West Hartford to take kids to, like whatever, right? It's going to recommend 3 and it's going to source it, okay? Giving the user exactly what it wants. The AI bots are looking for very clear answers and consistent facts. It's summarizing those businesses likely to help the searcher, okay? Every platform, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, Google, which is Gemini, they want the best user experience possible for the searcher so you stay on the platform longer, right? That's why people go to Google over Yahoo. You search on Yahoo, what is going on, right? You get drastically different results than in Google. That's why Google is the premier. AI needs to understand everything going on your website. And I'm going to go through all those items and what you can actually do for your business in order to get into the AI overview recommendations. Little fact, almost like within real time, Google is now in Google Analytics and GA4 and all of your analytics tool is now populating AI search reporting. So that is giving way more visibility into that platform. Before, agencies like us have to go to outside, homegrown areas in order to pull in that data to see how we're doing in AI searchability across, ChatGPT and such. But now it's kind of rolling into the reports, which is phenomenal. So what does Google care about most? Okay. Does this business match the search intent? Is the information accurate and consistent? Do reviews and content prove credibility? Is the website easy for Google and AI to understand? Okay, it's all about relevance, trust, authority, structure, and experience. So how Google AI overviews work. It's crawling and indexing billions of pages. You then ask a question. It's then fanning out different queries, and it's breaking that question into several related searches. It then retrieves and evaluates that information. This is all happening like within a second or two. And then it's populating up and summarizing what you just asked with the most relevant information. And that's how you get your AI overview answer. But there's a lot that goes into it, okay? I broke it down into like 8 specific ways in which you win in AI search today, okay? A lot of it has to do with SEO, but a lot of it has to do with tricks and tips within SEO and what to focus on. Number 1, your website must have very, very clear headings and content. Concise paragraphs, bullet points for readability, this is the most important part, for both people and AI. So you can't just optimize the content on your website for AI. You have to also optimize it for readability for people, okay? Number 2 is to use schema markup. In the next slide, I'm going to say, well, what the heck is schema markup, right? Very technical. Now, you don't have to do fancy markup on your website in order for Google to recommend you in the AI overview. But at the end of the day, there are tons of businesses in your market all competing for the very small slither space. So you must have a better strategy than them. You must present yourselves how Google wants you to, but also have a leg up on them and focus on strategic optimizations to do it. And one of those is schema markup, and the other one is topical authority, which I'll talk about in a second. Schema markup is basically ensures that the content on your website is machine readable. Schema is, you don't see schema markup code on your website. It's happening behind. But it's basically giving AI bots in the search engines exact, precise information in the right place in the right spot. So in a second, it can sift through that code and know exactly precise, exact information. Because again, like I said in the beginning, AI does not want to guess. If they have to guess what you do, who you serve, are you trustworthy, they're going to bypass you. You're never going to get into AI overview. We already talked about right for people in AI. Number 4, target long tail and voice, right? So your content has to be very unique, descriptive, elaborate, unique. I'm going to say unique again, because again, when you duplicate content, if there's content that's duplicate on your site and then another site, or you're duplicating content on your own site, Google does not like that. Google hates it. Google wants everything to be unique, creative, different. Because again, the same thing, everyone's competing against the same space, you must be different. Publishing and refreshing content is very important, right? Google favors publishing you as a subject expert. I'll get into an example of that. That could be through blogs, guides, content marketing. There's a lot of storytelling. There's a lot that you can do within the publish and the refreshing content, and that's where I'm going to get into topical authority in a minute. Obviously, your website needs to be very optimized for speed and mobile responsiveness. Okay, so if you go to your website on a laptop, then go to your website on a mobile. If it looks different, Google's not going to like you. Implement structured data, so implementing across key pages for rich results, and then optimizing that metadata and architecture. So I'm going to go into more of the nitty gritty of this and some takeaways. But first, what is schema markup? I audit a ton of businesses during the sales process of, do you want to work with Hearst Connecticut Media Group or not? Do you want us to manage your SEO, your Google, right? And almost, unless you're a very, very, very well-established business, large entity, have thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of monthly unique visitors, have been doing SEO forever, well-established, right? Been around the block. But for the most part, small, mid-sized businesses, the two glaring areas almost every time in all of our audits is lack of schema markup optimization and lack of topical authority, which plummets your AI search visibility score. So schema markup is very important, right? Schema markup is basically giving Google labeled metadata to help explain it faster and more accurately, okay? It's becoming increasingly important because Google is moving more towards AI-generated search, entity understanding, semantic indexing, contextual retrieval, knowledge graph ranking systems, FAQs, massive. This is part of like schema markup and FAQs and content. I'll give an example and an analogy. You have a tool shed. Your website is a tool shed. So think of your website as a tool shed. Right now, Google can walk into the shed and see a bunch of tools, okay? You have a broken rake there, a usable rake there, a lawnmower that doesn't work, wrenches, gloves, buckets, right? All these different gardening tools all over the place. But you might know where it is, right? But the average person walking in doesn't know where it is. Think of that as how Google is. They want your website to be extremely organized with labels everywhere. Very organized. That helps the AI bots understand exactly where the information is. Okay, so in a roofer example, a roofing contractor, schema markup is likely putting labels on every single rack in that shed, right? Roof repair, metal roofing, emergency leaks, right? Financing, FAQs. You want your FAQs in the right place at the right time. You don't want FAQs in just one elongated place in one part of your website. You want your financing FAQs in your financing. You want, the FAQs in your About Us that's more like business and customer service related questions, right? Like all that's important, right? You're putting information and content in the right place at the right time. Questions create visibility. So AI search is favoring very direct, helpful answers. FAQs match how people ask questions. An example, someone's typing in, how much does a roof cost? How long does a roof installation take? Do you offer warranties? So an example of a roofing company is if they're publishing specific information. If I'm a roof replacement company, I want to be an absolute subject expert matter in one or two things. I'm not trying to tell Google that I'm an expert across windows, doors, gutters, roof replacement, metal roofing, leaks, repair. It's too much. You want to focus on specific pieces and be the subject expert in that specific field. That's called topical authority. It's content. You want to go above and beyond what your competitors are doing and publishing reputable stuff, because once you do that, Google sees you as the expert. They see you as trustworthy, that you know what you're talking about, you're credible, you're coming up with unique content, you're coming off as the educator, right? A roof replacement guide, very specific, right? If I'm a financial advisor, maybe I want to be a subject expert matter in a specific age group for a specific part of your life for planning, right? That's going to help in that search volume to be recommended more, rather than just trying to feed Google that I'm a financial advisor for 10, 15 different things. It's going to be much harder for Google to take each one of those search queries and place you in the AI overview. Local trust signals are very important. Consistent reviews. responding to every single review, whether it's positive or negative, having a review solicitation software to increase your reviews, making sure that you have consistent name, address, phone number, services, description across every directory and listings. There's over 70 of them. If Google sees all different discrepancies, that's a signal to Google that you're not trustworthy or there's mismatching information and now they have to guess, right? Google Business Profile Optimization, directories and listings are a very important component of what AI wants to see. Google Business Profile might be the most important for a local business, to be honest. Probably number one. You want to make sure that it's perfect across everywhere you go because it's a trust signal, and that's part of Google's algorithm, especially for AI search visibility. Topical authority, we already hint on that. You want to be the subject matter expert, okay? You want to make sure that what you are publishing, what you do have on your content service pages, that your services are broken out into different pages, not all lump sum on one or in the main homepage. Google doesn't like that. You got to build out unique content across your services. Don't duplicate content, publish blogs, etc. Unique. Those are very important pieces. And again, when we do audits, content and topical authority content is usually a very low score because a lot of businesses think that, okay, my website is structured perfectly. I have good reviews and technical SEO is on point, right? But they're missing the schema markup and the topical authority to give them a score of a 60 to 70% up into that 80, 85, 90, where that's how you're going to compete, especially against a business that has way more credibility, longer standing, covers larger markets, right? That's going to be a problem if you don't leapfrog them and do what they're doing. So the bottom line is topical authority is one of the most valuable long-term foundations for AI search visibility. A recap here: strengthen your Google business profile, add FAQ and service-specific content, be unique, use schema markup, improve your review strategy, keep content fresh, especially if your business handles multiple markets. You need to convince Google that you're just as relevant in West Hartford as you are in Southington and Waterbury, if you're doing different markets, right? So it's publishing content through your Google business profile and through blogs in different areas that is very related to local. Having local service pages helps that as well, not having it all in one area. And improve topical authority and become that subject matter expert. These are all things that are managed within an SEO service. It's just how much emphasis are you putting in to the AI components of it. And it's FAQs, it's schema markup, it's topical authority. A lot, like those are the Google business profile, reviews, trust signals. Emphasizing those areas at a higher percent than anything else gives you a winning formula. Make sense? So be that competitive advantage, right? You don't just rank anymore. You want to become the business that AI is recommending, because that's where the planet is moving towards. And I would not be surprised if Google's landscape completely shifts to almost 100% AI, where there's going to be ads and it's going to just be AI on what we're all used to on Google. It's probably going to move into that area if I'm a betting person, but again, we don't know yet because it's changing constantly. The only thing that we can do now is pay attention to all the different changes of Google's algorithm and platform, have a dedicated team that can get out ahead of it, right? Those are all really important factors. The advantage of Hearst, Connecticut is we're part of Hearst's ecosystem. We have tens of thousands of clients across the globe, which puts us into a top level tier of how much ad spend and traffic we manage, which gives us access to trends faster and dedicated Google support and more of that, expertise and get out in front for our clients. So it is an advantage for us to help clients with it. There are very smart internal teams that are experts in this as well. Just make sure you have someone or a team in place that can get out of front of AI search and know what's going on so they can steer your business in the right direction. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah. Also, while she's miking you, if anyone does want a complimentary free AI and SEO audit, me and my team are very trained and professional in the delivery of breaking down your website. We don't even need access. We can do what we can do with the tools that are out there. If you are serious about needing help, we can help you complimentary as part of the chamber. We wouldn't charge. What's your question?
So I'm curious whether Google deals differently with platforms like existing platforms like Shopify, Squarespace, like platforms like that, if you're building your website on one of those.
It's all going to intertwine, honestly. Like Google, it doesn't matter if it's a platform, if it's a website, like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, like they're sourcing the entire ecosystem, right? Every e-commerce website has a website. You're either on Shopify or BigCommerce or Magento, right? Or WordPress, there's tons of them, right? So it's still a website, it's still a URL, it's still sourcing that information, whether it's a product or a service-related query. I've been in the e-commerce space for 5 years prior to going to Hearst.
Oh,
You got it.
I got the mic. No, just kidding. So you mentioned several times about FAQs, and is your suggestion to increase becoming the subject matter expert a singular page of FAQs, or is it better to have, for example, like where our services are listed, at the bottom of that page, put the FAQs about services, and then
That's a great
on
question.
the about our team, these are the licenses and qualifications that our team has. So is it better to have it on a single page or spread it out throughout the pages of the site?
I'll use an example of a kitchen remodeler. Okay, here's a kitchen remodeler that has a lot of different service lines. They do kitchens, they do bathrooms, they do full-scale remodelings, cabinet refinishing, countertops, a lot of different items, right? They have financing, they have customer service, they have about us, they have local pages. There's a lot going on a website, right? Probably exactly like yours. Most recently, when I was building a strategy for a large kitchen remodel franchise in the Washington, D.C. area, and we were collaborating about where we were going to put the FAQs, and our expert recommendations and our strategy in our 90-day plan was to put different FAQs in different parts of their service lines. So when someone is on financing, they want finance-related questions, right? If it's business or customer service-related questions, should be on the About Us page. If it's related to, I don't know, full kitchen transformation, full gut and replace, those questions should be more towards on that page, because that, again, you're feeding Google specific content in specific places that match specific search queries, right? Otherwise, yes, you can put them all on one page, probably if there's limited services, or if you do just one thing and you don't have a ton of service pages, right? That wouldn't make sense. Like having one FAQ on one page and 9 on the other, like that might not make sense. Best to consult with the SEO expert, or if this always doesn't translate, but whoever's managing your website and hosting it might also do this work, but they might not be an expert in it. So just make sure you're knowledgeable on that. I run up against that a lot. They're experts in designing the website, but not expert in how it works. They might optimize your website for search to start, but ongoing is important. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yep, thank you.
Two questions.
Is this the drone company or the jewelry company question?
In general, two questions anyway. So, is any way searchers can choose whether Google does AI search or just as it used to be before AI, that type of search?
If anyone pulls out their phones and goes on Google's platform, you now see all the way to the left, it says AI mode. That's fully 100% in AI mode. It's Gemini. It's basically being ChatGPT and Claude are extremely robust because you can create imagery, you can create documents, Word docs, PDFs. I built this whole presentation using enterprise level ChatGPT just to kind of showcase the theme of AI, of what is possible. It does take a lot of effort to get it perfect, right? But based off of your question, if you're in Google and you're answering specific questions, it's automatically going to pull up the AI overview. And then what you're also, if it's a specific question, right? But then it's going to be like, you're going to see at the bottom of it, it's going to say, ask anything. And it's going to give you recommendations on what questions to ask, right? Just like ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity would do. And it's changing every single day. So sometimes there's literally nothing you can do to get out of it because it's just Google's way of doing all the work for you, so you don't have to click into all these links to find and uncover the information. It's sourcing and it's leveling up based off of user experience, trustworthy, all the things that we just talked about to recommend you, because I'm giving it to you on a silver platter of what the most reputable search is. But to piggyback off of that, there's no guarantee that you're going to show up in AI overview consistently. I've seen time and time again different companies showing up. And what's in AI overview could be different than what's in sponsored, which should be different in maps, which should be different than SEO rankings. That's why it's all important to do it at the same time.
And second question actually about that regarding like a paid reviews and not reviews, but paid search and organic search. With AI, does organic search kind of obsolete and it's not going to work anyway?
No, you want to do it all at the same time, because a search query is not always going to pull up AI overview. If it doesn't answer exactly what it wants, the user's going to go down. And still today, the most reputable, qualified traffic to your site will be an organic click every time. But you want to be visible in all the different areas to earn the organic click, because it signals trustworthy if they see you in AI overview, see you locally, see you in sponsored. It gives the signal that you're a more reputable company.
Sure. Does AI
Oh, okay.
does AI place any weight on whether or not you have a location for your business?
Yes, very
Address?
important. Like the first, 101, Google Business Profile, make sure every single listing and directory is 100% accurate consistently with the same exact information. Hours, phone number, URL, business hours, description, imagery, logo, all that stuff. Make it uniform across. I can't even tell you how many times when we take over a company who's well established, family run for 60 years in the market, and it's an absolute train wreck of like all these different phone numbers and listings all over the place, which tanks your Google listing score. Google listing score needs to be as high as humanly possible in order to show up in the maps, AI overview, like all that stuff. It's usually covered under either SEO or reputation management service.
Thank you so much for this. Is the GEO LLM specific? Like, for example,
GEO?
yeah. So, like, if I want to optimize for Gemini, is it different than optimizing for Cloud? For
Typically, when a company or whether it's an internal team, you as the owner, or a marketing team, if you're optimizing for AI searchability, what you're doing on the website is getting picked up by Google AI Overview, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude. I wouldn't say there's a single strategy for each one. If it ever gets like that, then oh my lord, that won't be pretty. That'll be too difficult because there's platforms everywhere. But from my understanding is what you do on your website and the technical and all the stuff we kind of went over is feeding those search results, because ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity and Gemini, they're sourcing Google, right?
But if you ask for a suggestion, for example, GPT, for example, it would be different on Gemini. That's why I asked the question, because it feels like very LLM specific.
I mean, if you're only trying to show up on a specific platform, there might be some areas in which you're overemphasizing on your own site. But from right now, it's like there's no clear like winner, because these AI search platforms are popping up everywhere. And market share, I mean, Claude and ChatGPT are probably the two leaders right now. So yeah, that will change, I'm sure, and that'll be hard to.
I know I already sent you a ton, but what if you want your focus to be AI to pop up first right away? I mean, sometimes there is that information. So, for example, if I'm helping a client or versus helping myself, I don't want to click everything. So I am in favor of when it's like AI overview and then Sartorium Rosa client relations pops up, and you can just, because if you're not well educated on AI yet, or if you're learning, or if you are fully educated on it, it can make mistakes still.
Yes, it can.
It can, but if it's offering me because of all of the specific content and presenting myself as the expert to everyone, I'm going to pop up. And people are going to maybe take that as credibility, and there you go. So I guess I'm torn. Which one is it? And I know it's a debatable conversation, but what would make someone most successful when you're creating a website or for someone else, or as an Elmwood, as you know, small businesses, family owned, you spoke to, that are, you go on and it's Google profile to nothing, and you want to help them.
Yeah.
What's the best route?
Starting off, first would be Google Business Profile, optimizing it, everything the same, directories, listings, all clean. Making sure reviews, that you have a review software in there for review solicitation in order to get more and more reviews, whether it's telling people to do it or automating to put it out in front of a happy customer to get them to review. That's going to be a signal. So those are two things. Having FAQs on your page, being unique content, and also, like an example here is like fill out everything on the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce profile, if you remember, because that will get cited. And then when people are searching in directory or searching on Google for business information or stuff, time and time again, credible sources, right? Like a chamber, right? Like CT Insider, like I have tons of advertisers that buy sponsored profiles through Connecticut CT Post for best Italian restaurants or best personal injury lawyers near Hartford, where we have hundreds of pages that rank at the top, and they're getting cited in Google AI Overview because they're buying a sponsorship off of a trustworthy website.
So a referral
So
from you
having
could boost.
your client's website links and mentions and testimonials on other reputable publisher chambers, that type of thing, is another signal to help that local business appear in AI Overview.
I see. Thank you.
You're welcome. One more question.
So you just started to touch on it, how advertising or purchasing sponsored spots in Hearst publications how does that work to help boost the
Sure.
the process?
So CT Insider and CT Post and New Haven Register and Greenwich Time and DarienTimes.com, all these websites publish so much content. And we have best of pages all over the entire state. There's about 175 of them, from best lobster rolls to best personal injury lawyer to X, Y, and Z, to best, OBGYN. Like or all over the place. We map it to contests or curators picks. But basically, when we launch a brand new page like that, we're ranked at the top of Google in the top 3 search results organically within 2 weeks every single time. It's because our websites are so trusted by Google that it automatically raises us up to the top. So when an advertiser is purchasing a sponsored advertising profile for that exact subject loaded with content and a sponsored paid advertisement on that page, it's a loophole. Google AI is seeing CT Post or CT Insider or that any publisher as the credible source, and it's surfacing and recommending that elongated, unique topical authority profile write-up directly on that page. I've seen examples all the time, us being cited, and it's a paid advertisement on our pages. So it's just an example of like making sure your website is on credible publications as often as possible, because Google is piggybacking off of that trustworthy domain.
So I'm gonna ask the last question because I have the microphone before I put it back in the box. So back to FAQs. So it's very common, especially when websites first started rolling out, to have the FAQ page, and you're suggesting answer those questions in the appropriate categories. Should you call it frequently asked questions about kitchen remodels, and then on the bathroom, frequently asked questions about bathroom remodels, or should you answer the questions in an organic fashion, and AI will know that that's what you're doing?
You mean on the website or actually?
On the website.
I mean, it should be self-explanatory that if the FAQ at the bottom of the page is related to that specific service page, but there's no harm in putting a header title.
So like an H2 or something like that? Okay.
An H2 tag, right? That's fine, right? Because that's sending Google more explicit information, right?
Okay.
So member service FAQ, right? On the member service page, right? Same thing with like events. Could be the same thing, right? Troubleshooting the event register, any of that stuff, right? Just using that as an example can help, right? Because if they're on the page and they have a question, boom, it's right there, rather than having to go on an FAQ page. And if there's too many questions, you're like,
Gotcha.
They're going to abandon,
Okay.
right? Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jim.